All of Haman's efforts, building the gallows, shifted from Mordechai hanging it to him hanging it. Eliminating Vashti, put Esther on the throne. Okay? Everything he did, say, oh, what do you do with someone you want to honor? Oh, you cloak him and crown him and put him on your horse. And the very same effort, concept, ideas shifted for Mordechai. So nothing changes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just controls how the system, responds to the events. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. This is the great V'napoch of Purim. And this is the end of days. The end of days we will see. And then I'll take your question or your comment, which is always good. The end of days we will see how everything that ever happened, that we viewed as terrible, okay, was either the stopgap measure of the system having to shift into a less optimal mode to keep it going, but it did keep it going. Or if with tshuva and Torah, re-accepting the Torah and the mitzvahs, it actually shifts completely back into plan A, using everything that was suboptimal to now become part of the optimal plan. Let me say one last thing. No, it is not awesome when the system has to shift to suboptimal plan B. In other words, it is the fact that Esther, that the nace happened like this, okay, that you had to take a Jewish girl out of a modest, proper, kosher environment and put her in the harem of an Oriental despot. Okay, remember Iraq? Remember Saddam Hussein? Remember those two sons, Hudai and Kuzai? Remember when they conquered? Remember when they captured them? This is the same place, Iraq, so same culture. They found their palace. I don't want to talk about it in a shul, but it was like a torture chamber for women, okay? It was, you can just imagine what was going on in the palace, in the parties, in the harem, this is where Esther had to live her life. And she sacrificed, ever going back to Mordechai, we know that. She forfeited her marriage, her life, everything. Now she probably took upon herself her role as queen and did a good job and was, and knew she was being productive. But do we really want a nace like this? This is how a nace has to happen? A Jewish girl subjected to all that? No, we don't really want a nace like that. And that's why, by the way, it's easy for Purim to be related to the wrong way, because the nace itself wasn't, what it should have been. But this is what had to happen in those circumstances, okay? That story tells us everything can be shifted for the good. But it's even better if we don't get into that situation to begin with, right? And that's the funny thing about Purim, why it's so holy. It's the end of days where everything will follow this pattern. We'll see how everything, and we'll shift everything over, and what was bad will be good. But that's also what happens at Purim, which is such a holy day. It's Kippurim, but people don't relate to it with such Kedusha, unfortunately, which they should, because of this aspect of it. Because it was a nace that came through all kinds of, unsavory ways, right? But it's still, our job is to put the Kedusha back into Purim, the incredible V'napochu into Purim, the Emunah and the re-acceptance of the Torah. That's the critical thing into our Purim. Okay, I want to say one thing, and Bonnie has to ask a question. Bobby?
Two things. First of all, when you say unsavory ways, I just heard something that Vashti had used the Jewish handmaidens and paraded them naked to dance, and that was her downfall. So again, it was an apachu that she had to perform.
But
right.
That's
one thing. The question I had was in Toldos Chav Zayin Mem, when Yitzchak had to give Esav a bracha after his pleading, it says, "Kasher tarid u'varakta ulo me'elzav bracha." Is this the beginning of napachu? Because
it's interesting.
It's almost like when they sin, you're going to be able to succeed, and then of course it insinuates that when we can turn it around.
But one caveat: Amalek is not Esav. Don't confuse them. It's not Esav. It's Esav's grandson. It's a separate entity. It's the crystallization of an idea you find in Esav, but it's the extreme version of the idea the world doesn't need the Jews. By the way, one last point I have to say, and then I have to say something about Hashudi. So wait 1 second. Why does everyone associate Hitler with Esav? Because he literally fit the bill with Amalek. He fit it to a T. He said, remember Rashis Gayam Amalek? Amalek says, oh yeah, we believe there's a Rosh, there's a superior nation in the world that deserves to control everything, that does control everything, that was Germany. We are inherently superior. We deserve to control the world. Will to power. We have the will, we have the power, we can do what we want. He tried, one of his first moves was to conquer the whole Russia, to turn it into a slave camp to produce bread for Germany. Everybody has to be controlled by us. We run the world, and we have a right to. Why? It's inherent. That's Amalek. Rashis Gaimalek. There's a Rosh, but it's us. Why? It's inherent. The Jewish people say, no, there's a Rosh. It's us. Why? Because we do the Torah and mitzvahs that govern the world. It doesn't happen magically. Hitler says about the Jews in Mein Kampf, oof, you know why we don't like them? They're the conscience of mankind. Now, so there is a Rosh. We have to know that any Jew is really the Nefesh Chai of the world and plays this role. And our ultimate enemy, and everything will be turned in that direction, and all the destructive energy will be poured out on the Amaleki, that is the ultimate battle between Amalek and us, is on this question: does the world need the Jews? And what will become clear is the Jewish people, those who accept Torah, and the Sheva Mitzvahs too have those people accepted because of their, from Har Sinai, they do control what happens in the world. That's what the whole thing comes down to. All right, one thing, Kesher Yehudi, I want you to know that we are doing on March 26th, I'm going to